And there's I see what you doing. That podcast, that's gonna be big. That's it. I seen it last night. Don't you let nobody discourage. I'll back you. I'll back you.
Faith and Fun family, welcome back to another episode where real conversations create real connection. Tonight, today, whatever time you're watching this, we're speaking with a woman whose story reminds us that survival is a miracle, healing is a journey, and belief isn't always simple. She's a scientist, a creator, an investigator, an advocate for those who've endured abuse, and a woman who refuses to hide her truth just to make others comfortable. So, Faith and Fun family, let's welcome Alice Light.
Thank you.
How are you arriving today?
I'm feeling pretty great. I'm really nervous.
Yeah.
Excited to be here. Very grateful and humbled to be
Mm-hmm.
here. I'm arriving feeling very fulfilled,
Yeah.
being able to have this opportunity.
Yeah. So, what's one thing that's keeping you grounded in this very moment?
I think the sense of purpose. So when you and I first met, a few months ago, and we talked about this, it seemed like a far off chance that it would work out. And now that we're here and we're doing this and we made it all come together and, you came through for it makes me feel like there's a true purpose in me being here. And
Yeah.
as nervous as I am, um, as scared as I am, it's that purpose that's fueling me to
Yeah.
go through it.
And you said something, and I'm going to start early. My phrase is let me stop you right there whenever
Hmm.
something gets good to me and I just have to say something. You said something and you were like, um, simply because you came through for me.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know. When you've like endured abuse, whether it's physical, emotional, verbal, and you've been let down so many times, when someone comes through for you,
Hmm.
like in the littlest things, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I can trust you. People don't understand, and it's not even a big gesture. Just me keeping my word, or someone keeping their word.
Hmm.
Just
Keeping a commitment. I think
yeah,
it's the kind of the equivalent to when someone says, especially if you're fresh out of an abusive situation or where you've been let down, and someone says, I believe you. And I remember the first time I heard that after I escaped my situation, and it had been months, and I was in fight or flight all the time. And an advocate called me, a victim's advocate, and one of the first things she said is, I believe you. And that was so much. And it seemed so simple to hear those words, but it struck me like lightning. And I was just in awe of such a simple statement, but how much it hit me. And from that moment, I was almost inseparable
yeah,
from my advocate. And still to this day, she's no longer my advocate, and we still talk.
yeah,
She was the first one to believe me.
yeah. And because this episode is just going to be so good because we have so much in common. And so you're going to answer these questions, and I'm probably going to answer them right behind you.
Hmm.
But I get that because with me, I've dealt with so many different things. And when you start to tell yourself and you start to rehearse these things that you've been through, sometimes you be like, "Am I lying?" Because
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
way in the world that I have gone through all of this. And when you start, and sometimes for me, like I don't know how bad it is until I hear it when I'm telling somebody,
Right.
and I'm like, "Man,
Well, when
Darius,
you hear yourself or when you see their reactions, I think
yes,
as an investigator, a former investigator, I'm trained in reading body language.
mm,
And so even if somebody tries to mask it, it's very hard for me to not see it.
mm,
But when I say just even a piece of a story, a piece of one thing that's occurred, whether it be medical or being in an abusive marriage or something that's happened in my career, the shock, or then when they put it all together and they say, how are you still standing? And you almost sit there and go, wait a second. That's a really good question. How am I still standing? And did that really happen? Because it seems so far, so long ago, so far away. And you know it's real, but it's almost like your mind protects you and makes it like it's not. And you just start to question whether or not you made it all up and it was just a really bad dream.
You are not about to do this to me, but that's where I am.
Yeah.
This episode is about you, but
It's
But
honestly about all victims and all survivors.
that's where I am, because literally I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and they were like, "Well, what's going on?" And yesterday was the day, because I usually try to cover and keep and all that
Yeah.
stuff, but yesterday was the day. You asked me, I'm gonna tell you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I gave
It's
her
all coming out.
Oh, I gave her a rundown, and it was professional and nice and courteous. You know, I kept God first and all that. And she was like, "I did not know." I know you didn't.
Yeah.
Because I play my part well.
Mhm.
I smile. I
Yep.
show up.
Mhm.
I attend the gatherings. And I
Yep.
keep my peace. Because I know if I speak, I'm going to air all this out.
You're right.
So it's like, I do my part well.
Yep.
And then she was like, I just, you don't show it. You smile so much.
Yeah.
It's not a compliment.
All you're telling me is I'm really good at hiding it because I've been through so much. I've learned through practice.
Because I've been trained.
I'm trained.
Because
I'm conditioned.
what we're taught growing in the black families,
Mhm.
keep it in the house.
Yep.
What happens in this house stays in this house.
Yep.
But at what point do we tell somebody?
Right. Or have we told somebody and we've been dismissed, minimized, blamed? What did you do to cause that? And so that is part of the conditioning is society, our family, maybe it is a church if we don't go to a supportive church, our friends. What did you do? What did you do to
Yeah.
cause this, as if abuse is a cause and effect relationship? But I've said it many times to many people. There is nothing you could say to me or do to me that would make me turn and be a malicious, abusive, hateful human being.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you could do. Now, does that mean I wouldn't act in defense of an innocent or a child, my children? No, I've done that. I've proven it. If I have to, but out of pure choice to be that way, no. And so abuse is not a cause and effect relationship. Abuse is a choice. Being an abuser is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
In any form. Being an abuser is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so victims, they don't do anything to deserve it or
Yeah.
cause it. They're
Yeah.
victims. We're victims.
Yeah. Yeah. So you once said that Alice was created to protect Kara.
Mhm.
Let's start right there.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Alice and who is Kara?
So Alice Light was actually an alias I created to protect the true me, right? I was raised, and Kara is often used. I use both, but I was born Kara. That's the name my mother gave me. That's how I was raised. And out of my abusive situation, I needed a name to hide where I was. And that's how it came to be. Alice was from Alice in Wonderland, how Alice goes down the rabbit hole and finds the truth. And Light became from being a being of light and always shedding light on everything. And I started using that just to hide my identity, my physical location. When I started putting out content to share my experiences for other victims and survivors and allies, advocates, their families and friends, so that they could understand or get at least one perspective of so many, I couldn't put content out under my real name to protect myself legally, physically, emotionally, psychologically. And then she grew. Alice became her own.
Mm-hmm.
And almost like a pen name for an author or an artist name, right? It's a different identity that you can assume. And that's what it became. And as I posted content, I realized that the only way that I was really able to share really horrible things that caused me a lot of pain to say again, to relive again and again.
Mm-hmm.
She just became my voice for me so that I could have her take the pain and leave my true self, my inner child, Kara, protected.
So, what did Alice protect you from?
I think that Alice protects me from feeling the full force, the full weight of all of it that I carry. I think Alice also enables me to not only protect and love and comfort and hold me, but also to do all of that for my children, to do that for my family, my pets, my friends when they struggle. It's something that I'm able to step into, a place that I'm able to step into to, in that moment, be there when Kara maybe can't. And so she continues to enable me to use my voice when I know I'm going to likely be silenced. When I know I'm going to have a hard time saying things, I would, honestly venture to say that right now I'm probably channeling her and Alice a lot more than Kara because I need her.
Yeah.
I need her. And I don't know what she is, but she's that spirit or angel or guiding light that protects me.
So, is Alice your safe haven, or that's not how I want to put it. Is Alice the person that you needed the most in the middle of everything you were dealing with?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Alice, almost like when people say go to your happy place. Alice was my safe space. She was my mother when my mother couldn't be there. She was my best friend. She was the one to hold me while I cried. She was the one to step in and continue being the mother I needed to be when my children needed me and I could not be there. And whether she is real or not, is kind of irrelevant at this point because she, whatever she is, she's my protector.
Mm-hmm.
She's my guiding light. She's my warm hug when I
Yeah.
can't get one, or when a hug from a physical hug feels empty or not enough.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. How do you think trauma um, shape who we present to the world?
I read that question. I was like, wow, man, that's a really good question. I think trauma is probably the number one way we present to the world. I think that as we grow and we're obviously born a certain way, nature, and when we have this nurture and our experiences and what we go through shapes who we show up as every single day. And nobody is without trauma. And a lot of times people try to compare trauma, but at the end of the day, trauma is trauma no matter what it is, no matter how big or small, it's how it affects you. And that shapes you. And I think as human beings, we need to feel loved and wanted and
Mm.
accepted, but trauma shapes us into resisting because we don't want to get hurt again. And so we make decisions that block us from truly loving and truly embracing. And what's sad is even knowing it, it's hard to combat it. We basically set up our own demise because we create our own self fulfilling prophecies based on our history of trauma to prevent future trauma.
Mm-hmm.
But then we end up just setting ourselves up for failure and a lack of love and acceptance because we've resisted it to the point where it's not possible.
Yeah. Because it's like we're so afraid that we're going to get hurt, so we build a wall.
Mm-hmm.
And we stay in the wall
Mm-hmm.
because we're scared to go out of the wall because we're going to get hurt. but we hurt ourselves even more in the wall because we won't let anybody in because
Yep.
we feel like that person is like the last person. It's like a never ending cycle.
It is. And the way I explained it to my son, and he's still so young, less than 10 years old, he didn't want to do therapy to work through what he had experienced at the hands of the same person. And I explained to him, I said, "You're in a burning house, and the door frame is on fire. And you have to go through the door frame in order to get to safety. But going through the door frame is going to burn. And you have to be willing to lean into that discomfort. Growth comes from discomfort. I tell my kids all the time and others. And so you have to make the choice. Am I going to sit in this house and continue to burn and just wait until the burns finally do me in, even if the burns are within your own mind and your memories and your experiences? Or are you going to make the choice to walk through the burning door frame, knowing it's going to hurt worse in the moment, but that your burns will finally be able to heal on the other side? But that choice, when you visualize it, it's really hard to say, oh yeah, I'd totally walk through a burning door frame and take that chance of it collapsing on me in the hopes that it'll work out. That's kind of what brought me here to talk about this is faith. Am I willing to walk through that burning doorway knowing that I don't know what's on the other side and I could get hurt more?
You're not doing this to me.
Not intentionally.
Because it's just like, you may have 99 reasons not to go. And you got one reason to go.
Yep.
And you have to take, and we have to like force ourselves to take that one reason.
Every time.
Not knowing how it's going to turn out.
Right.
But it's like, I've already been through hell on this side, so what's a little more? Like,
yeah. And you say that, well, can it really get worse? And then you start to wonder, could it get worse? I feel like it could get worse. I feel like it could get worse, and do I really want to take that chance?
yeah. Do you ever worry that Alice has become your survival mode even when you want softness?
Yep. And I think I'll live with that forever. I hope I won't. I hope I won't. And I've taken those leaps, of faith, being married now, taking that leap of faith to be in a relationship and go through this is not him. He is not him. He is not that person. He's his own person. But that survival instinct that I've learned over so many years, and not just from this, but from abuse even prior to that, and being taken advantage of even prior to that my entire life, in by people who I should have trusted, by people who should have protected me. And so some things will happen, and I feel it, and I feel the fight, like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. And I am lucky enough to have gone through the therapy and made that choice, and I'm aware sometimes, most of the time, that the reaction is not appropriate for the situation, or the situation is not the same. But it's so built into me at this point to survive that it's a constant battle with my own mind. Is this really what I'm seeing? Or am I seeing something that's not really there because my survival instinct tells me that it is to protect me? And so you might not be battling with the person who hurt you or the people who hurt you, but you still battle them in your mind. And you still battle your memories. And you even battle your own feelings and your choices and go, but is that real? Is it? Was it real then? To go back to the beginning. Is it real now? Or am I just making it up? Is my trauma telling me it's there and it's not? Or is it really there, and not trusting my own instincts is going to set me up to be hurt again? And so the battle is always there, and I don't know that it'll ever go away. But I'm going to work every day to make sure it doesn't affect my present or other people. For sure.
I remember one time I had thought I had got over the person who did these things to me. And I saw them in Food Lion. And I was on one side of the store and they were on another side. And I just remember, like, I think that was the first time I ever had a panic attack.
Yeah.
And I've never told anybody the story. But it's like it was just him and I. And everybody else in the store disappeared.
Yeah. Time slowed
And
down.
it was like I couldn't move. I just remember I got really cold and I started shaking.
Yep.
And I just knew in my mind that he was about to come get me.
Yeah.
And I knew that wasn't going to happen because we were in a grocery store full of people.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't even see me. But I saw the truck outside, 20 parking spots away. I don't know how I saw the truck, but I said, that's him.
Yeah.
And I watched him get out the car, walk in the store. He was all the way over here, and I was all the way over here working. Didn't see me, but I saw him.
Yeah.
And everything that I thought I had got over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I didn't get over it.
Well, and it's a funny thing because I actually brought that up to my husband. And I said, it's like that random dish that you have in your kitchen. And you're like, I don't even know what this is used for. And then it kind of disappears. And then you're going through your kitchen and you find it again. And you go, I thought I got rid of this. But here's this dish again. I still don't know what to do with it. I still don't know how to use it. What's its purpose? Why is it here? And why can't I get rid of this? And then you kind of look at it and you go, well, do I just put some dip and chips in it and call it a meal? Like, what do I do with it? But it just finds its way back around no matter how many times you think you've gotten over it and how much work you've done. It's there. It's how do you transfer that energy into something positive is really the only thing that you can do with those feelings or that energy, that emotion that you feel. But that's a real thing. And all survivors go through it. They might experience it different.
Yeah.
But we're all in it together. We're all surviving.
Yeah. So what does safety look like you today?
Safety, I think it's still evolving for me. I think a big part of it was finding the safety and security in myself, within myself, and I think I'm still finding that. I think the biggest part is knowing that I'm not alone, but there's a pain associated with knowing that I'm not alone. When I hear the stories of others, whether it be the same thing or something different, but I feel their pain, I hear their pain, there is this strange, confusing gratitude that I'm happy I'm not alone and I'm happy that someone else understands. But this extreme pain and almost guilt that I'm happy they went through the same thing so that we could connect. And so I should say, a great sense of relief and a great sense of sorrow in that safety. Because I wouldn't want anybody else to go through it. But safety in numbers is a real thing. Safety and understanding is a real thing. So I think it's a part of finding yourself and then finding your tribe and sticking with them.
Yeah.
And staying true to who you become as a result of what you experience.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you let people close without losing yourself and what you have put back together now?
I think there's a really beautiful thing about surviving and learning. Because you can let people close to an extent because you know what you won't do anymore, what you won't allow again. And so what it does enable is being more intentional with your choices of who you allow in your life and who you allow in your inner circle. I think the hardest part is when you do start to let people close, there's this feeling for me where I go, is it going to be okay? Is it going to be okay? And not having the knee-jerk reaction that when they do let you down, when they don't come through, when they say they're going to, when they break a commitment, when they make a mistake, not having that knee-jerk reaction of cut off, like, I'm done. You're cut off. You did exactly what I knew you were going to do, and realizing that just like me, they are human and they make mistakes and they err. So what I focus on to stay close is, how do they atone? How do they make up for the mistake that they've made? Do they take accountability? Do they show improvement? Do they keep commitments going forward? And yes, they'll make mistakes again. But what do their behaviors show me, investigator side? What do their behaviors show me they are doing? Are they trying? Then let that be enough. And that's just what I stay focused on to try to maintain. But it's hard. I'm pretty limited in who I allow close to me.
Yeah, I needed that. Ooh, I needed that one because it's just like I don't trust nobody.
Yeah.
Granted, and when this come out, it's probably gonna ruffle some feathers, but I just when you've been let down by people
Mhm.
who are supposed to be here through it all,
Yeah.
I just ain't got nothing else.
Yeah.
Like, it was a podcast video that I saw on TikTok, and I think it was Michael Beasley, and it was just a short clip, and he was like, I've been trying to find good people for so long that I ain't got nothing left.
Yeah.
He was like, because all the people who he thought were in his corner weren't really there. And I'm kind of at that point, but like I'm still fighting every day. Because if it was up to me, and people who know me, I would just rather be at the house by myself. Because I know can't nobody hurt me that way.
Right.
If I can just, me and my dog Jackson, and we watch TV all day, I'm good.
Mhm.
Because I know I can protect that space.
Right.
Or like driving for Lyft all day. I'm good. Like other stuff, I don't know. Because if you let me down,
Yeah.
I don't know. And
Yeah. I think I had a little bit of a advantage, if you will, in this area, because when you're surviving, sometimes you do things to survive that hurt others, and sometimes you hurt others to push them away so they can't get hurt further because you know what's coming. And so for me, I pushed a lot of people away, and I hurt emotionally a lot of people, and I caused a lot of pain. Now, my intent was to protect them, but they didn't know that. And so when I got out and I was safe to say what had really happened, from a legal perspective, and then also physically safe, I reached out to all of those people. I went through hundreds. My contacts had been changed in my phone intentionally by my abuser, and I went and I found people and I reached out to them and I explained what had happened. And I apologized. I said, please understand this is what was happening. I'll show you anything you want. I'll give you any evidence you want. I have tons. And they gave me the grace and space to be okay, and they let me know they were okay, and they forgave me. So when people hurt me, they make mistakes, they err, I really try to remind myself that I don't know what they're going through, and maybe they're doing it to me to protect me the way I did it to others to protect them. And in this space of, grace and patience and understanding and empathy and assuming positive intent, it enables that conversation, it enables that connection and that growth. And am I going to be let down? Yeah, guaranteed. But for every one that lets me down, there will be one that doesn't. And if I don't give that opportunity, then who was I to deserve the opportunity I was given?
I needed to hear that one too.
You're welcome.
Woo, because I have like people that are like really do love me and like are really just like really close, and they tell me all the time, you got to let people in. Everybody's not like that, but I'm just saying, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know.
Well, and when you do let someone in, it's almost like you're like, okay, I'm gonna let them in, and when they do disappoint you and they aren't the right people, that's the thing. You're like, but you're almost fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, where you go, wait a second, I let you in. I chose to let you in. I chose that. I chose to allow it. So what does that mean for me? What does that mean about my choices? What does that mean about how I live my life? What does that mean about my inability to protect myself? And so you don't want to feel the pain, but you also don't want to be the source of your own pain. You can't be the source if you never allow it to begin with. So it's this constant, again, that constant fight you have with yourself. You know what you should do and what would feel good if it worked out, but you're like, but should I?
Yeah.
But should I?
People don't know the amount of battles that people go through in their minds every single day
Oh,
about basic things.
mm-hmm. Picking something on a menu.
Literally. And I thought I was going crazy because
Yeah.
it's like little things. I'll have a meltdown.
Yeah.
and I'll you would think that it's about life or death. It'll be like a burger,
Yeah.
but it's just I put faith in this number 5 combo,
Yeah.
and it was nasty.
Yeah.
And like my whole mood will just switch, and it's not. It's funny, but it just shows me I'm not okay.
It's not the burger though. The thing is the burger or the number 5 combo is simply the physical manifestation of the battle of having to make a choice.
Oh God, I feel like I'm talking to a therapist. Oh, keep going.
That'll be $10.
Oh, keep going.
Yeah, but it is that and it's the fact that you have a choice. I think that was probably one of the most terrifying things for me getting out was having a choice. And then there's this, what if I make the wrong choice? And it's not just the number 5 combo. It's, I was given this life. I was given this opportunity. I was given something that so many never get. And I'm now standing in this place where I have a choice, no matter how small or how big. What if I disgrace that choice? What if I make the wrong choice? And if I do, when that number 5 combo is terrible, who am I if I'm ungrateful for the food I have or the choice I was even able to make? And then you start to judge yourself. And it's never ending. It's kind of the equivalent for me. One of the most painful things of that judgment, that self-judgment, is when I see things, because obviously based on the content I put out on my channels, my algorithm gives me a lot of abuse content. And so I see when good things happen to other survivors, maybe they actually magically get a win in court, right? And there's this moment where I get so elated that they got that. And I think, wow, good for you. And then I say, but what about me? What about my children? What about my family? What about the friends I've made along the way who never got the opportunity to see justice, the opportunity to truly be heard, the opportunity to get out? Maybe they never even got out and they didn't make it. What about them? And then you judge yourself. Why can't you just be happy for what that person has accomplished? At least they got something. Why can't you just be happy for them? Why do you have to judge it? Why do you have to be envious? Why do you have to make it about you? So the narrative we're taught in our situations of being abused, those narratives, they are in us. And so we have to rewrite every single narrative that has ever been taught. And the longer you've been in it, the more narratives you have to rewrite, because the more evidence that person has given you to fuel that narrative that they fed you. And you have to find all of the narratives and rewrite every single one of them. And sometimes when they require other people, sometimes the other person is almost impossible to find.
Yeah. Yeah. This is so good to me. Oh. So you're trained in science.
Mm-hmm.
How has that shaped the way you think about belief and the unseen?
Science, say it this way, knowing something and believing something are two very different things, but both are required for the whole picture. So if you look at things like physics, we can't see things necessarily like energy, but we can see their effects on objects. And we know that it's there, right? But believing without that is so impossible. What do you mean there's tiny little particles that, quarks and all of this stuff? What do you mean that's there? And it's not until we see it that we go, oh, it's there. And so with science, you can test things and you can prove it repeatedly. And with faith, it's not direct at all. And sometimes for me, I can rely on science. You know, science comes through for me every single time.
Yeah.
Science comes through for me every single time. Every
Yeah.
time. I can repeat a scientific process. An investigation is nothing more than the scientific process
Yeah.
for humans, for people,
Yeah.
right? Faith isn't as obvious in how it comes through for me, if at all,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm let down constantly, and I cry and say, "How is this? How is this okay? Why am I set up to be completely miserable? Why am I set up to suffer so much? Is this how you come through for me? This is it?" Because I've got a whole line of people throughout my life who came through for me the same way. So I'm not sure if I'm not letting those people in my life. Why am I letting you in my life?
Yeah.
But science is always, always reliable.
Yeah.
And so I think that separation, that faith separation, it's hard to have faith when I'm constantly let down. But science never lets me down.
Yeah. Because it's tangible.
Yeah.
And you can prove it.
Mm-hmm. It's the fight between my physical state and my spirit, my mind. My mind knows one thing, my spirit knows another, and they like to fight a lot.
Yeah. 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 It reminds me of when you were talking about that fiery door.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I know I'm going to burn in this house.
Yeah.
I know I am.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to burn when I walk through that door. But am I sure there's safety on the other side? Nope. How do I know it's not worse?
It's like you know there's so much better for you, but you just don't know how to get it.
Yeah.
Or how to get to it, or what
Or
do you
if you're
have to do.
worthy.
Yeah.
You've been
Yeah.
told for so long you're unworthy of the greatest things in life. Who's to say they weren't wrong?
Mm-hmm.
So you just get this, you get caught in this loop. And I think science is one of those things that we can rely on it, and we can fall back on it so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know it's right there. It's in the peer-reviewed journal. This famous scientist said so.
Yeah.
Who am I to question that?
Yeah.
I'm a big nobody in the grand scheme of things.
Do you think it's harder to trust in what we can't see or in what we've already seen hurt us?
Whew. My brain went so many places. Ask me it again.
Okay. Is it harder to trust in what we can't see or in what we've already seen hurt us and let us down?
I think it's harder to trust in what we can't see because of what we've seen hurt us.
Woo.
I think that's what it comes down to. I think if you look at children believe in everything.
Yeah.
They can. It's not to say that children haven't been hurt, But the child mind is so innocent, and it's able to kind of silver line it all, right? Because maybe they have an imaginary friend or a stuffed animal or or a pet that they can confide in, and because of that, they can still trust in what they can't see because they haven't experienced everything we have. And so I think as we get older and the more we experience, the more trauma we have and the more we've been hurt, the harder it is to believe in what we can't see, because it's like a negative bank or a negative weight, maybe, I'm not sure, but it just gets to be so much evidence, if you will. The evidence is stacked, the cards, the deck is stacked so high that you're like, well, this evidence is clear. This isn't.
Yeah.
And so we start to become more fearful of what we can't see because of what we've seen happen to us and others. We don't just hold our own cards. We hold the cards of those we saw hurt, especially if we loved them or they loved us. If someone could hurt someone that beautiful, then they can definitely hurt me. They could do it to them. And so when we see the ones that we love and admire hurt, I feel like that causes more pain and stacks the cards even higher than when we ourselves like are hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you see faith as a leap or a slow walk?
Both. Both. I think that there is always going to be a leap when you are believing in something that you can't tangibly see or feel or touch, if you will, that we cannot perceive with our human senses. It is going to be a leap. You have to leap in order to see, right? But I think it is a slow walk the more we question, and I think that questioning is good. I think it's healthy, but sometimes it makes the road a whole lot longer. And for me, I hear people who say these wonderful things and, oh, well, this happened and, thank the Lord and, praise Jesus. And in my mind so much, I think to myself, man, I want to be like you. I want to have that connection. I want to feel that so bad. I want to take that leap and I want to trust that there's a net beneath me. But I got to walk to get to that net. And I don't know how far that journey is, but I feel like I'm almost there, and I have these experiences. And then I almost get there and I go, but then this happened. But then this happened, and if it was all real, how could this happen? Why would this happen? And when you're kind of fighting with yourself all the time and having that battle, you tend to, even if you're right next to it, right next to the net, you're like, ooh, but that net, that hole might be too big. I might fit through that. So I'm just going to walk it back. And I'll just chill over here for a second, and then maybe when I'm ready, I'll take a few more steps.
Or let me see somebody else jump on it.
Yeah, like, did you try it? Mandarius, did you try it? No? Okay. Okay.
And I feel like we talk ourselves out of so many, like, good things.
Oh, yeah.
Just because the fear of, what if?
Yeah.
What if this don't work?
Yeah.
What if I'm going to look like a sucker?
Yeah.
But then again, what if this could be the best decision that I've ever made?
And I truly believe that if is probably one of the most dangerous words.
It's only 2 letters.
Yeah, and it is so dangerous. If this, then that. If I'm wrong. If I make the wrong choice. If I take this leap of faith. If I go this way versus that way. Every time we question. I think I saw it said, anxiety is just a conspiracy theory about yourself. And I was just like, yeah, that doesn't change the fact that I feel it.
Yeah.
It's still
Thank you for
there.
acknowledging it, but it's still right there.
Yeah, it's still there. That weird plate in the kitchen is still there.
Yeah. When you wrestle with belief now, what part of you pushes back the hardest, your mind or your experiences?
Mind.
Yeah.
100%. There is absolutely no doubt. My mind is the thing. My human, reptilian, if you will, mind. Because I know it's there. My spirit knows. My experiences tell me I've had so many that are inexplicable. Completely. Like there's no rhyme or reason to it. And so I know. I know and I feel it, but my mind says, "Are you going to get duped again?
Mm.
You're going to let that happen again? Again? Really?" And the words of other people when it comes to being a DV survivor, when they say, "Well, you chose that. Why did you stay? If it was so bad, why did you stay? Why did you choose that? Why didn't you get out when it all first started? Why did you allow your children to be in that situation? Why didn't you say something? Why didn't you fight back? If you were keeping evidence, you must have known your situation was bad. Why didn't you do anything about it?" And these are real questions I get asked. Survivors get asked all the time. And I tell everyone, you cannot judge me more than I judge myself.
Mm.
You cannot hurt me more than I hurt myself within my own mind, asking myself these exact same questions. And it's just, you can't reason with it. You can't make any sense of it. And it's the same thing. You're going to question because that's all you kind of can do. I think there's also that piece of, do I deserve happiness? Do I deserve saving? Do I deserve to be caught by the net?
Mm.
You don't feel worthy.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think this is a question on this thing, but if it is, I'll just skip over it. But do you ever, I know for me, sometimes I think this and I have to fight myself when I think it, but do you ever think that I should have just stayed?
oh, oh, yeah, yep. And it's the worst question. It is. As a former investigator, I truly believed in the system. I did. When I referred people for prosecution for doing, kind of by comparison, pretty petty things, and they were arrested, I interviewed someone in the back of a police vehicle to get the
Mm.
admission, and I got it, and in my mind, that person was going to jail. That person was going to be held accountable for what they did, the harm that they caused, and I truly believed that. And then when I got out and I went through the system and I saw how much my abuser, my children's abuser, was protected and enabled, it kind of broke me.
Mm-hmm.
It really did. And the fight to stay true to my decision and to know that I did what I did was right, and the judgment from others, and testifying in court and being accused of doing things I never did, and being allowed to be accused of these things, and the money I poured into protecting my children, and the police reports and the interviews and the forensic interviews and the evidence and everything. It was all there. And it wasn't enough. And the pain that we still experience from the fallout, it was like in that environment, I had one abuser. And a lot of people who didn't listen or didn't believe me, but I had one abuser. And then when I got out, I had so many more.
Mm.
Because it wasn't just him, it was the family members that supported him, the legal system that supported him, the friends that supported him, the society that supported him, the judges that supported him. over and over and over again. The counselors, the court-appointed therapists that supported him, that used abuser tactics in themselves to try to convince my child that his dad was safe. And in a way, I felt like a failure for staying, and I felt like a failure for leaving. And yeah, and I talked to my husband. I have an incredible, incredible husband now, an incredible marriage. We've known each other since we were probably about 6 years old. And I tell him, I'm very honest, and I say sometimes I feel like it would have been so much easier to stay because I at least understood that world. I don't understand this one. I don't
Yeah.
understand this world. I don't, and when you're in it long enough and you come out, it's like you Rip Van Winkled life. You Rip Van Winkled that whole time because you're in this daze. You don't know what's going on, but you don't know that you don't know what's going on, and then you get out, and all this time has passed, and you think the world is going to be something, and you find out it's the complete opposite, and you kind of go, why the hell did I wake up?
Yeah.
Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Well, yeah, you were being abused, but at least I knew it was coming. Now I feel like I'm just getting sucker punched by life all the time.
Yeah.
It's so, yeah. What about you?
I think for me, sometimes I wish I would have stayed because at least I knew certain relationships wouldn't have been cut off.
Yeah.
And so, because all that little boy that left wanted was peace.
Mm.
And all he got when he left was chaos.
Yeah.
When all I wanted was peace. And then all I got was chaos.
More pain.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it was pain from people that I never thought it would come from because not you. You were supposed to be there through it all.
Yeah.
But then you realize, I just lost what I was about to say. You realize that things and materialistic things have so much power over people.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. But I do know if I would have stayed, we wouldn't be doing a podcast today. I wouldn't be here.
Oh, me neither. With 100% certainty.
There was a trend that was going around like a few years ago. And it was like, if your suicide attempt would have worked, how long would you have been gone? And I reposted it and I did mine. I said 5 years.
Yeah.
And everybody was just shocked because nobody knew.
Yeah. It's always the people that nobody knows.
Yeah. And I saw a video of this comedian and this girl was like, "Oh, you're so funny." And he was like, "Well, you know, the people that are the funniest have the most trauma. They've been through the most."
That's how you get through it.
And so everybody, they tell me, "Oh, you're just so funny, Mendarius. Oh my God, I just love to talk to you." Sure, you don't know how many jokes I had to tell myself to just come in front of y'all to talk.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how many pep talks I have to have with myself every day.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to cry today. We are not going to go low today. We are going to come in here and we're going to do our part. We're going to play our part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine is just over 4 years.
Yeah. Like, nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. So that's why, like, when I knew we was going to do this episode about belief and abuse, I was all in because even me, who has been in church all of my life, I struggle with this thing every single day.
Yeah.
Some of the struggles is getting a little easier, but it's just like, how much more longer we got in this? Because I understand vengeance is mine, says the Lord. But I'm like, Lord, do you need a helping hand?
Dude,
Because
like, let me hand you the dictionary.
it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard because I got the Lord on this side and I got the devil on this side. And I'm trying to do the right thing.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to be quiet and let him work it out. But it's like I'm 26. Relationships that are still supposed to be attached to me to this day are no longer attached simply because I wanted peace. So now I'm having to navigate these places where I need these relationships that they're no longer there. So I'm having to grieve people who are still breathing.
Hmm.
And I'm learning to have to realize you're probably never going to come back.
Right.
And so I have to be okay with this. But it's just like, all I wanted was peace.
But I think you got that.
Got what peace?
Because those people in your life weren't going to be there to give it to you. So by them exiting themselves, the grief is so real.
Yeah.
The grief is so real. When I was about 15, 16, I pretty much cut out a lot of my family. And it was very hard because my mother has a very traditional mindset on family, and she let them stay. And I would listen to her cry about the pain they had caused her, and she would continue to justify it, and I told her, I go, sometimes our abuser is ourselves.
Mm.
And when we don't choose ourselves, we allow that abuse to continue to ourselves by our own choices, and by allowing these people to stay in your life just because they're related to you by blood.
Mm.
You're hurting yourself. And this is why I cut them out. And I'm not saying I'm better than you, but this is why I did it. So the grief piece is so real. But you did get your peace in some ways because those were the people who were going to keep you in that spot.
Mm.
And they saw themselves out the door.
Mm.
The pain, I think, if I may, comes from the shock that it should have never been that way. That's the pain. It's not the person, it's the pain that it should have never been that way. Like PTSD doesn't really come from seeing the event, whatever it may be. If you are a survivor of abuse, if you are a veteran, if you see something terrible, like something horrible happened to your pet, the pain does not come from the event. The pain comes from not being able to do anything about it.
Mm.
That's where the trauma lives. And so for you and for me, because I've experienced the same, the pain is not from them leaving. The pain is that it never should have happened. Because you wouldn't have done it.
That's the one.
Yeah. You
I
wouldn't have
would
done
have
that.
never.
No. And you never would still. And that's what makes us beautiful. Is that after everything we've been through, I'm going to skip ahead to one of the questions.
Go ahead.
But when it comes to what am I most proud of, that was such an easy one when I saw that question. I am most proud of the fact, just as I would hope you would be for yourself, that after everything we have been through, everything we have endured, everything that has been done to us, we still show up as absolutely incredible beings of light that are there for others. And we don't allow our past to choose for us how we treat people. We allow our past to fuel us to help others.
Yeah.
And that is what I am truly proud of. That is purpose.
Yeah, because like you see people. I watched a movie. My church went to the movies to watch a movie, and I think it was called Amish Grace.
Okay.
And I may be telling the story wrong, but I think something happened to the father's child. And so he went to this Amish community and shot up all the kids, or his goal was to shoot up all the kids because he wanted to make God upset because of his loss. Mm. And so with all of these things that we have endured, I have every right.
Yeah.
To be hell on wheels.
Oh, yeah.
But I choose every day to be peace because, and it's not even, sometimes I want to be destructive,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just, I know what it felt like when I went through.
Mm-hmm.
And I know how I barely got through. I don't want to do that to nobody else.
Right.
It was one situation I went through with this one person, and I told them, I said, you should be grateful that it was me and not nobody else.
Yeah.
I said, because situations like this, people end up on Snapped.
Mm-hmm.
People end up on Investigation Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you should be glad that it was me and
Yeah.
not somebody else.
Yeah.
I said, because had not I had been through all of that stuff early, this would have turned out real different
Mm-hmm.
for you.
Right.
Like,
And that's the thing though, right? If you look at all emotion is on a spectrum, peace is anger.
mm,
It's this the choice of how you choose to act it out, right? So that anger is in you, or you wouldn't be here. That anger is in me, or I wouldn't be here. Alice would not have a platform posting content about abusers and what they do in the system and trying to raise the awareness. There are so many times that I've cried and just said, I'm going to take Alice out.
mm,
Alice isn't going to be Alice anymore. She's not going to be there because nobody listens. Nobody hears Alice. Nobody hears me. Nobody cares. Everyone's so caught up in the materialism of the world or these frivolous things that really don't matter. And I see these things that happen that are terrible things and have 5 million views overnight, and I can't get 5, not because it's about view count, but it's because people don't care.
mm.
And I can't take that message anymore that people don't care about the suffering of others. So I'm just going to remove Alice. But that anger fuels Alice to continue. That anger fuels Mendarius in this podcast to continue. And so, yes, you bring it in a peaceful manner. But let's not mistake that it's anger that fuels us to even show up every day.
Because it's in there.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause,
It can't.
baby, it's in
We've
there.
earned it. We've earned the
Yeah.
anger.
But I feel like now, my like anger, like I don't want to hurt nobody no more.
Mm.
I just want to find out why the fight has been so great.
If you find that answer, you let me know.
I got you, girl. I'm gonna call
Thank you.
first.
That's right.
But
Please do.
like I want to know, and I'm on a hunt now to know why I didn't die and why the suicide attempts didn't work. That's where the anger is now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's fuel to figure out why you still here.
Right.
Like what we about to do? So how can I use this to help other
That
people?
survivor's guilt. Why did I get to live?
Yeah.
And it's almost like a little motors in you driving you to the answer because you want to be able to make sense of why you got to live and so many died and so many didn't make it. Why you?
Mm-hmm.
Why? And I ask myself, kind of like you said earlier, about if you hadn't left, you wouldn't be doing this podcast today. If I hadn't gone through everything I have been through in my life, which my best friend has stated, if she did not know me, she would think that my life was a really, really messed up Hollywood movie script. Who would I be today? I wouldn't be the me that needs to be here for others. And as much as the fight feels so futile, as exhausted as I am all day, every single day, the fight was mine that I chose at some point. And I could stop. I could make that choice. I could stop posting content. I could stop talking about it. I could not show up here today. If I could. But I can't. I'm not built that way. I'm not built to watch others suffer and not use what I've experienced to help. And in speaking of suicide attempts, I had a colleague that knew about mine. Oh, or no, excuse me, he didn't know about mine. He knew about my past. And he knew that I would be forever understanding and I would listen and I wouldn't judge him and I would never say anything to anyone. And he called me, he messaged me, he said, "Hey, do you have a minute?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "I was out last week." I said, "I know." "Did you go on vacation?" He said, "No. A loved one of his daughter, had attempted to take her life. And she survived. And he was reeling, and he had no idea what to do and how to support her and how to love her in the way that she needed it. And he actually did not know about my attempt because it's posted, but it wasn't something I had shared with him directly. And in that moment, I immediately was like, and this is why I survived. Because I can tell him right now exactly what I needed, and it may not be exactly what she needs because everyone's story is different. But I can tell him to be patient, to be kind and loving and understanding, that anything he could ever say to her would never ease the pain, that any judgment that anybody had ever doled out to her would never meet the judgment she places on herself, that the fear would never be understandable to her or anybody else, that void she felt in that moment where she felt that was her only choice is a void that nobody would ever be able to understand unless they've been there themselves. So to not try. Don't say you understand because you don't. Don't say that you can stop the pain because you can't. Just love her. Just be there. Let her know she is safe and she is not judged and you have her. And that's it. That's all you can do. But in that conversation, I had asked that question, why did I survive? And why is the pain so great? And why? Why? And there have been so many moments like this of things that I've experienced that I knew what to do and I knew how to help and I could be there for my neighbor. I could be there for my loved one because I had been through it. And had I not been through it, I couldn't have. I couldn't have done anything other than listen. But when someone can't even begin to understand, does it help? Not really. It just doesn't. That's why veterans talk to veterans. Abuse survivors talk to abuse survivors. First responders talk to first responders.
Yeah.
That's why, because we have to be able to believe that those people have at least some understanding of the pain and the emptiness and the void that we feel and the struggle that we feel and the fight we fight every day. This conversation we're having right now, we can only have this conversation because we have an understanding. I see you and you see me. But if you hadn't gone through it too, could we really see each other through the clear lenses we need? No. So I think the fight is the hardest for people like us because that is our mission. We're the fighters that will keep fighting no matter how bad the pain is, and we'll take the anger and use it as fuel to just do better. That's just what it is.
Yeah. I think I remember I was telling someone, a family member, because I don't vent to people. I don't vent to any of my family. And they'll ask me and ask me and ask me and ask me and ask me, "You okay? What's going on? How's this? How's this? How's that?" And I'll say, "I'm fine." Because when I tell you, you're just going to sit there and look at me.
Right.
It's nothing you can do.
Right.
And just to keep myself from just like getting more upset after I tell you,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I've been good this long.
Yeah.
I'll continue to be
That's
good.
so real. I've made it this long.
Without
I've been
telling a
through
soul.
all of this.
What's another few years?
What's another few years?
Because it's just like you don't get it.
Yeah. There's something I'm going through now, and that is quite literally my response. I was in an abusive marriage for 10 years. I have fought the system for 3 years. I have almost died multiple times from medical issues. I have had a mini stroke. I have had meningitis. What's 6 more months of this? What's 6 more months? You can't hurt me. I've already died a million deaths. Like, you can't hurt me.
I've lost, and like this is where I have to battle every day to because I don't fight for things no more like I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't fight for people to stay no more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't fight for friendships. I don't fight for relationships. I don't know if it's defense mechanism. I just don't care, or I just don't care. But it's like, if you want to go, go. Like, when you've lost people who you've never thought that you would lose,
Mm-hmm.
girl, I don't care about you.
Yeah.
And it's not that I mean, it's just like, I lost people who were supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And they're not even dead.
Yeah.
But they're no longer a part of my life.
Right.
And it's not that I don't want them there. They just choose not to be there. They've chose other people and other things. So it's like, if you can do that, and you're like, you were supposed to be there, what is a friendship? What is this? Like,
Do you think it's the personal relationship, though? Or the lack of caring, what have you? Or do you think it's because you want to be a choice?
Alice, don't make me cry.
Oh,
It's okay. I've been crying the whole episode.
for me, it's I want to be chosen.
I want to be chosen, and I want to be fought for.
Yeah.
Because I've had to fight for other people.
Why
so
am I
long.
doing all the fighting? Why am I not worthy of the fight?
Thank you.
Why am I not worthy of the effort? Why am I not worthy of the choice? And this is something I always battle with, and I bring up, and I say I cry, and I cry out, and it's like screaming into a void. I have never broken a commitment. I don't break commitments. They might get delayed from things outside of my control, but I do not break commitments. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, as long as it's within safety and security, right? And I fight, and I keep my commitments, and I choose to show up every day, and I choose to follow through every day for people who honestly oftentimes don't even deserve it. But at the end of the day, that's their karma to eat. That's their cross to bear, not mine. I won't eat that karma. They can eat it. But when I'm consistently let down or an afterthought, and I hear things like, well, you're so strong, you don't need the help.
Sure.
You're so strong. Look at everything you've been through, or I want to help, but I don't know how. So you do nothing? So you don't even try? What if I said that? What if I said that to my children? What if I said that to all of the people I've saved and the pets I've saved through my work? What if I said that to the elderly person or the blind person who's lost in the street? What if I said that to them? What if I said that to them? Well, you seemed like you had it. I mean, you've been blind for a really long time. I figured you had it. I mean, you've been...
You should know by now.
Yeah, you should know by now. Just put one foot in front of the other, right? Just keep going. Just keep going. It's going to get better. Is it? Is it going to get better? Because I've heard that a lot for many years. And it seems to be getting better for everybody else, especially when I'm the one helping them. But then when I'm the one who needs help, you got it. You got it. You've made it through all of this. You are the strongest person I've ever met. You've got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So to me, it's more screaming into that void of, when am I going to be enough? When am I going to be worthy of your effort? When am I going to be a choice instead of a burden or a tool that you use when it's convenient for you? When am I going to be worth the fight? When am I a choice? When am I worth helping or worth saving? When does that happen? Because go on ahead and let me know. I'll go on ahead and put it in my calendar, and then I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. I'll wear something nice.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah. I saw a TikTok the other day, and it was a girl. She said, I hate when people tell me I'm so strong. And she was like, but I don't want to be. She was like, y'all make me strong.
And you shouldn't have to be
Yeah.
that strong.
She was like, well, maybe I should. She was like, I honestly want to be fragile.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you get a box that say fragile, you're careful how you put it down, pick it up. You
Yep.
won't drop it.
Yep.
You won't throw it
Yep.
because it's fragile. She's like, I don't want to be strong.
Yep.
I've been strong for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be the baby bunny that's shivering under the bush instead of the wounded lion that someone's seen from a distance saying, well, yeah, I mean, it's wounded, but it's a lion. It's good. But look at this cute little baby bunny that's just a little bit cold. I'll probably help that one over there. Can I be the baby bunny for once? Can I be seen as the baby bunny for once?
Mhm.
Do you realize how wounded the lion is? And how much that lion actually needs support? No, because you didn't ask and you didn't walk over to find out.
Or my biggest one that I hate is, you should be over that by now.
Oh, yeah, man, you should be.
Yeah, that was 8 years ago. You still on that? I'm like, girl, but you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what that took from me.
Well, and I think, and continues to take, let's be clear.
Every day, because holidays.
Yeah.
It's like, you think you get over one hump, oh, here comes Thanksgiving. You get over Thanksgiving and Christmas, here come the New Year. It's like, dang, a whole nother year and ain't nothing changed.
And that's the thread, the drawback, right? So I actually took a page from your book, the conversation we had about ask the Lord for a sign.
Oh, good, don't.
And I did last week. And this goes through that thread, though. I had been wanting, this is going to sound so silly, but I had been very much wanting and needing a small dog to hold, to love, to be there for me, to take with me to therapy. And I was scared, but I finally got one, and I felt so selfish for getting myself a dog. And then we got his brother. And a few days later, and I was so in love, and I could feel that he was already making me feel better. And a few days later, he became lethargic. And both of them had parvo. And I was sitting in my laundry room, and I have rehabbed many animals and bottle fed, and I've never lost one. We're talking dozens over my life. And I sat there on the floor of the laundry room, and I cried, and I held Littlefoot, was my dog, and I held him, and I remembered what you said, and I said, Mandarius told me to ask. Just ask for the sign, ask for it. And so I held Littlefoot, and Spike had become symptomatic as well, so I knew they both had it. And I held him, and I said, please, if you're really there, save my dog. Just save my dog. Because I need him, and he needs me. And he didn't live. And he died last Friday morning. 1:30 in the morning, I held him. I pet him as he died. Because I didn't want him to be alone. I didn't want him to feel the pain of being alone as he left. And I told him to not be afraid, and that we loved him, and we were so proud of the fight that he put up. And I cursed at whoever's upstairs, and I said, I knew it. You're a fraud. You're a liar. Because Mandarius told me to ask, and I asked for a miracle, and you killed my dog. And I know that's not right, and I know that will be very controversial, and I hope that people will listen to the rest before they just click stop.
They better.
Yeah, like. And then later on that day, his brother, Spike, got really bad. And so my husband and I...
Oh, this is your tissue, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I think I actually have extra too. I don't know. We were like, I told my husband and we agreed that we would not let his brother suffer the way he suffered. And so we made an appointment to go have him humanely euthanized, and the pain was so real because I was failing them both. And we went in, and the vet, we had never been to this vet, they were just available. And she said, "Well, how do you know he has parvo?" And I said, "His brother, I'm a former vet tech. Like, nationally certified animal cruelty investigator. Like, I've seen it. I know what it looks like. I know what it smells like. It's what he has." And she basically was refusing to euthanize him. And I was like, "What?" Like, why would you let him suffer? And she said, "I think he still has a fighting chance." And I cried. And to draw it back to that thread where it still lives in you, and I sat there and I cried and I said, "I have no money. I have been paying $2,700 a month in alimony to my abuser for 3 years. I have no money. I have to feed my kids. I can't pay for a really expensive vet bill. I can't do it." And she said, "Let me see what I can do." I said, "I don't have anything." And I just sat there and I cried. I said, "I was so sorry." And I went back and I said, "He's going to kill another one of my pets. He already killed my cat. He already killed another one of my dogs. And now, because I've been paying him for 35 months, I've been paying him almost $3,000 a month in alimony because of a broken court system. I can't pay the vet bill to save this fourth dog because he killed my dog just this morning." And it continues 3 years later. And he's doing it again. Because to others that seems so irrational, but when you draw it back, that's exactly where it came from. Because if I wasn't paying him, I would have the money to pay the vet bill, or at least this is what we tell ourselves. And if I did have the money, maybe I would have taken Littlefoot sooner. Maybe I would have taken him sooner, but now he's taken yet another life, and now he's going to take another one. But I was wrong. And the vet came back, and I don't know if she just forgot where certain zeros were on the calculator, but she came back and said, "This is what I'm going to do. We're going to forego the testing. We're going to assume he has parvo. And we're going to treat him with what we can, with what you can afford. Can you do this number?" And I said, "Not really, but I'll figure it out. I'll ask for help." And as of yesterday, I was up every hour throughout every night, syringe feeding and syringe watering him, medicating him, treating him. And last night he ran to me. And this morning he barked. And he is alive. And I told my husband, Ramon, I said, "That's a miracle if I ever saw one. Because that dog should be dead." And he's not. And yeah, I lost Littlefoot. But if I hadn't lost Littlefoot, I wouldn't have known what to do with Spike. And that puppy should not have lived. And now he's like my shadow. He follows me everywhere. He looks at me with the most adoring eyes, and every time he does, I feel whole. And so, yeah, that thread is so real, and that thread lives with you, and you'll never outrun it. So thanks for the challenge to just ask. You did that. Nobody else did. So thanks. Spike thanks you too.
How did that make you feel after seeing him come through when you knew that nobody else could have done that? After all the science and everything that you've known, what does your heart say? Not your mind.
Yeah. I feel like there's no other way to explain that. That puppy should not have lived. And I feel immensely grateful. I also feel the judgment of myself of how dare you curse before you even were shown the truth. And But that's the beautiful part of all of this conversation and asking questions is if you ask questions, it means you're open to the answer. But once you get the answer, you better be open to receiving it. And I think that's the lesson in it all is I am not 26. I am 37. 37 years of asking the questions. And yeah, I've been shown some things before, but they were kind of like, well, that could be. But that's the first time I said, show me. And Darius said to ask you to show me. So do it. Show me, prove me. Prove it to me. Science can prove it to me. And it was. And it was there. And I can't deny that. And it's terrifying. Because there's still that, what if I'm wrong? Yeah. And then I almost feel like a fraud. Because I've cursed it for so long. I've denied it for so long. I've pushed back on it for so long. I've allowed the corrupt churches of the world and the corrupt experiences I've had and the pain that's been caused in the name of religion corrupt my heart and my spirit, knowing what is true and knowing what is there. And maybe I don't know everything, but I'm still willing to ask the questions because the more I learn, the more I realize I know nothing at all.
Yeah.
So.
And because I think what we have to realize is God doesn't care about all that back there. Mm-hmm. He's just standing there with open arms. He was like, I'm just glad you got it now.
Yeah.
He don't care what about that back there.
Yeah.
But he literally, and sometimes he has to show us in ways that hits us.
Yeah.
That make you say, okay. Now, yeah, Littlefoot passed on. I think you're Littlefoot, right? Yeah, Littlefoot. But he said, I'm still going to show you.
Yeah.
And sometimes.
Isn't that the ultimate follow through, though?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just about the questioning. I very openly was like, you're a fraud. You're a liar. You're a fraud. And I know that there are so many people probably crossing themselves right now. Like, I can't believe she said that. I cannot believe that. But I think that's the ultimate love, right? True love is still there for you with open arms, even when you've hurt.
Yeah.
Because true love knows that the hurt was not intentional, the hurt came from pain.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
But just like a child, my children, they're children. Children can be the cruelest creatures on the planet. But they know that I'm going to love them and I'm going to keep my arms open. Yeah. That is the ultimate love. And I think that's what the show of ultimate love is. I know this caused you pain. I know you cursed me. But I'm going to show you anyway, and I'm still here.
Yeah.
And I always have been. No matter how many times you denied it.
Yeah.
And I'm still here now. Yeah. And I think that is the ultimate love.
Mm-hmm. You said, my soul knows, but my brain resists. The question says, what lives in that tension? But you're no longer in that place anymore. Because you've tasted and seen. So I would say, what lived in that tension before this experience?
Fear. Just fear. A lot of fear. Fear of being let down. Fear of judgment. Fear of being wrong. Fear of telling others that they're wrong if they don't believe as I believe. Fear that agreeing, in a sense, pigeonholed me into a system that I didn't know that I fully wanted to assimilate to. Fear of myself being a fraud. People are nothing more than mirrors for us. So when I cried out and I said, you're a fraud, that was me. That was my fear. That was a projection of my fear of being a fraud. of allowing myself to believe in something when I didn't truly believe, or trying to act like I believed in something when I didn't truly believe. And so that imposter syndrome, that fear is very real, because I never want to show up in a way that is not authentic and isn't me, because I've been that for so long in survival that I swore I would never do it again. And so I think it's just all of the fear, the human condition of it all.
So, how can I put this? If we would have never had our interactions and our phone conversations, how do you think last week would have gone with the dog and the.
I think I would have given up. And I do. I hate to say that because I'm not one to give up, but I had already given up. I had taken Spike to be euthanized because I felt like I didn't want him to suffer and that was the right thing to do. Had I not been open to a miracle, had I not been open, even if I wasn't consciously aware of my openness, by me asking the questions and by me requesting, almost demanding proof, which is kind of funny, me demanding proof, but I don't think I would have been able to see what was in front of me. It's kind of like you beg and, you may cry out or call out or pray for, enough money or like a miracle. Like I want money to get a cup of coffee,
Mm-hmm.
right? I want my coffee bought for me. That's what I want tomorrow. I'm going to manifest that someone buys me a cup of coffee, right? And as you're walking into the coffee shop, you step over change and you get in line and the person in front of you doesn't pay for your coffee and nobody around pays for it and you pay for it yourself. But if you had just stopped and counted the change, you would realize that that change was the exact amount you needed for the cup of coffee and your coffee would have been paid for. But because your eyes weren't open, you couldn't see it.
Mm.
So I think that's how it would have played out. I think I would have continued to give up because I wouldn't have been able to see that the change was right in front of me. I wouldn't have been able to see the gift and the angel that was that vet, is that vet. I wouldn't have been able to see Spike's strength. I wouldn't have been able to lean on Ramon in the way that I had to. I wouldn't have been able to get up every hour for night. Like, I didn't sleep pretty much for 3 nights. I wouldn't have been able to have that because the effort would have been futile. Consciously, subconsciously, what would have been the point?
Yeah.
Because a miracle isn't possible. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. So I want to ask you something. Um, at this moment, do you feel like you still need Alice?
Hmm. No. I think maybe Alice was just. Well, this is a really emotional question without me realizing this is an emotional
It
question.
almost tore me up when it came to my head because for me, it's almost like Alice was your placeholder until God showed Himself in your life.
Yeah. I think Alice was the strength, the hug I needed until I got the right hug at the right time. I think that's the thing with timing, right? Like, it's not on our schedule. None of it is. And I think I hid because I think I hid behind Alice. I'll sit here and say all day it was to, protect myself from a lawsuit. But here's the thing, I've never said my abuser's name or anything else
Yeah.
identifiable. So I think it was just I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel protected. I didn't feel loved. But when I think about it now, they used to be so separate. When you asked that, I was like, I almost can't sense the separation anymore. So, I guess not. Good question.
I know.
You said you weren't gonna cry.
I know. I just so I didn't. You did it, girl. You brought it up in this one. So there are people watching who I know who are afraid to admit that they struggle with belief. What would you say to the person who feels wrong, broken, or even guilty because they aren't convinced yet? How can you, from this place, being that you're now convinced that there is something greater, what would you tell them?
I see you, and I get it, and it's okay. It's okay to question, but stay open. You know, we don't have all the answers, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't be looking for them. And I think my biggest thing was that feeling of, what if I've denied it all this time and I was wrong? What does that make of me? What does that mean about me? And I think that's really a very real thing. But I guess the biggest thing I tell my kids that I would put here is, at any given moment on any given day, we can choose to be better.
Mm.
And I think that grace that we're given to make those mistakes and make those choices, that's afforded to all of us. And it doesn't matter how young or old you are, or what you've been through, or how many times you've cursed at it.
Yeah.
It's there. But
Yeah.
I would also say get there in your own time, because I tried so many times to leap and it didn't work. And it felt so heavy and so hard. But once it happened and I let myself walk to the net on my own time, on my own terms, and jump when I was ready, I was able to truly see it. If I hadn't, I don't think I ever would have. I don't think I would have. And I don't think anybody else will either. But
Yeah.
don't give up, because I literally thought that it was a farce this whole time.
Yeah. So I want to ask Kara. I feel like I'm messing up.
Both, Kara.
Okay, great. So I want to ask Kara questions. I don't
Yeah.
want to ask Alice these questions.
Okay.
I'll say the question. No, I'll say the word and you finish the phrase. Right now, I do believe what?
That I am infinitely loved in an unearthly way.
Yeah. But I still struggle with.
The pain from what I've experienced and how bad it hurts.
I want to learn what?
To really love the way that I was always meant to love, and allow myself to trust that I can let my guard down.
I am proud that I what?
That I came here today and spoke my truth.
One thing I hope for is what?
That we get to do this again.
And one more. I believe now that I survived. Why?
So that I can help others. So that I can be a beacon of hope for others. So I can be that lighthouse in the storm for others. Including myself, my inner child that hasn't gotten to heal.
Yeah. And I am open to what?
Man, almost anything right now. It's an odd feeling, just really feel lighter.
I'm so glad. Wow. Alice? No. Kara,
Yes.
thank you for reminding us that faith isn't a finish line, it's a process.
Yeah.
That it's okay to ask hard questions, that rebuilding trust in life, in people, in whatever might be bigger than us. It takes time and it takes honesty. To anyone watching or listening, you don't have to have all of the answers. Your questions are allowed. Your story is still unfolding, and you are worth every breath it takes to keep going. I'm Darius McGriff, and this is Faith and Fun Podcast. Keep your hearts open, keep your hope alive, and keep becoming who you're meant to be. And we'll see you next time.
Then there's I see what you doing. That podcast. That's gonna be big. That's it. I seen it last night. Don't you let nobody discourage. I bet you. I'll back you.